True North Reviews, True North Reviews, True North Reviews.
Hey there, welcome to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing this Black Midi album, Cavalcade. This is Black Midi's sophomore project. They're a fairly new band from London, England. They're signed on to Rough Trade Records, their first release being 2019's Schlagenheim. Let me tell you, as bizarre of an album cover this is, that's equally true for the music. And that's just in general. Last project they were exploring noise rock and post-punk. This time on Cavalcade, it's like a dichotomy of calm and jazzy, almost lounge type music balanced off with frantically charged experimental rock. It's quite a trip. By the time I put out this review, there's another band I've been listening to that is on the complete opposite end of the rock spectrum, and that's the Sheepdogs, who are very simple and tame in comparison to Black Midi. It's just crazy to see the number of ways they differ. I guess the Cole's note on Black Midi, though, is they like to write music that's very complex, usually involving multiple time signatures, angular melodies, and expanded form. What's the best way to get into their music? Well, I would just say dive right into this album. You'll be caught off guard no matter how much prep you put into it. The opening track especially, which this is entitled John 50, and it is a musical equivalent to a chaotic storm. There is a stop and start instrumental, there is dissonance, there are shredded strings. It seriously gives the illusion that this song will fall apart at a moment's notice. That's not even commenting on the performances, which I have no clue how this band keeps time. It must have taken them numerous attempts in the studio to get this right. Let's face it, I'd be helpless with those polyrhythms on drums. To make matters more interesting, the verses on John 50 are of spoken word nature. They're not even matching the sheer power and energy of the instrumentation, and to most, this will sound like noise, and I don't blame them, it's just still mind-blowing. Calming the storm of John 50 is the cut Marlene Dietrich, which is a very pretty song. You'll likely think that you're listening to a completely different band. The track is soothing, it is tranquil, it is a beautiful interlude to transition into Chondromalacia Patella, which has to be one of the best song titles I've ever heard. No, that's a medically fancy way of saying knee pain. This track, though, is anything but pain. It's quite enjoyable. I think the saxophone and floor tom heavy drumming make this a hell of a track. Plus, I can't get enough of that euphoric outro where everything just seems to go to a hell in a handbasket in the best way possible. This is just a jazz rock fusion that has me dropping my jaw. On to the subsequent track, Slow, a very misleading title, by the way. It should be slow based on the track list and how it's played out so far, alternating between loud and soft, fast and slow. But the drumming skill and talent would not let up or let that happen. We just gotta have those snare hits so rapidly controlled and perfectly timed. From a songwriting perspective, Slow is creative. I can only compare it to the giants of prog rock back in the early days with Rush and King Crimson if they were on steroids. To the song Diamond Stuff, this is the breather most people will be looking for after. Slow, keep in mind it meanders a bit, but it's still gorgeous. Now, one of my favorite tracks here has to be Dethroned. I love its muted strumming and ascending guitar melody. I also appreciate the smashing of cymbals and how those are mixed with the vibrato of the singer, who sounds like he's pulling off his best version of David Bowie. Sounds spot on and harrowing. The penultimate track, Hogwash and Boulder Dash, is yet another chaotic and disordered song. It is in essence noise rock that can't be tamed. Now to the closer, and in my opinion the only misfire in the track list, this one's entitled Ascending Forth. I feel like the ambition falls flat with the expanded form and softer moments, unfortunately. I don't know if it's lacking conviction, but this track is definitely lacking shape and direction. It's very ill-defined. Even the crescendo at the end doesn't hit with the same excitement, since the song drags in my mind. Overall, though, this is just an insane album. It's absurd with how out there and chaotic yet tranquil, certain parts of this album get. It's a challenging listen. I won't fool you and say this is meant for a casual listen as you walk down the street. I think anyone who'd run into you on the street and found out you're listening to this music, they'd fear for their life. But the biggest positive I can give this record is how it's experimental yet engaging. Most times records like this will reel me in for their unconventional ideas, but my interest tends to wane as the runtime goes on. This album, for the most part, avoids that. You might have a dreamier section before bringing it back to the doom-filled and dissonant ideas. With all that said, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm willing to give it a strong 8 out of 10. There you have it. There's the album review for today of Black Midi's Cavalcade. Make sure you guys sound off down below in the comments. Tell me what you guys think of this music, whether you agree or disagree. I'm here to engage with you guys. If you'd like to leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town. I'd appreciate that as always. Thanks for watching, and have a rockin' day.